Hey everybody, this is Evan Rogers coming at you with another exciting Japanese video. This is sentence slash clause particle ka. What the heck is a particle? Great question. You probably have never heard of a particle or even really what a clause is. I don't know, hopefully you know what that is. We're going to be going over some major linguistic differences between Japanese and English, and we're going to be having some fun learning what the ka particle does. All right, particles. Random weird picture. We got Vi being 8-bit. That's kind of like particles, isn't it? Yeah, I'm hilarious. All right, so anyway, particles are found in a lot of languages out there. Don't ask me, I'm not that great of a linguist. I just know that they definitely exist in Japanese and that other languages have them. What they are is little tiny sounds. I shouldn't say tiny, but just sounds, because that's what all languages. They're all just sounds. They're almost like mini words. They do kind of, but the problem with calling them words is that they can't exist on their own. They're tied to something else. Like the same reason why ed, like played, isn't a word. You'll see it all the time. It's tied to other, like the word play. So it's kind of like a mini word. They're attached to a word. So there you go. They're not really free floating. Or they're attached to a clause, or they're attached to a sentence. So the difference between a clause and a sentence is that all sentences have at least one clause in them, and every clause can be a sentence, but they're not always a sentence. A clause is simply when you have a subject and a predicate. That being said, you can have numerous clauses in a sentence. I don't know what he said. He said, and I know. Well, I don't know. So that's a two-clause sentence. A sentence is one idea that encompasses at least one clause. Okay, great. Anyway, so a particle attaches to a word, a clause, or a sentence. You have word, depending on the textbook you pop open, you're going to have different names for these particles. You're going to either have a word particle, a clause particle, and a sentence particle, or anyway. They announce how the word or clause or sentence is to be interpreted. That is a very, very vague definition, and I'm not even sure if it's the best definition. But basically, it changes the meaning slightly. For example, the ka particle, like we're about to learn, attaches to a sentence and it makes it into a question generally. Three types of particles. Like I said earlier, every textbook you pop open has a different name for these particles. So I'm just going to give them the most stupidest names that encompass the idea as best I can. So we have number one, the inside a sentence slash clause. So you find them inside of a sentence or a clause after a word. Number two, between clauses. So you'll have two clauses and there'll be a particle in between them. Or you're going to find particles after a sentence. Okay, so inside a sentence clause, between clauses, or after a sentence. The inside of a clause particles, you'll see the names case particles, word particles, maybe even adjunct and argument particles, things like that. You're going to, like I said, every textbook has a different name for them. They're inside of a clause. They come after a word. And what they do is, so they come, what it means. They come after a word, usually in a sentence, usually a noun. Inside of a clause, particles usually come after nouns. And they announce how the word interacts with the predicate. For example, English doesn't have particles, but a particle will do something like these example sentences on the right. So, for example, if we just follow the word the dog and see how it interacts with each one of these sentences, you'll see how each one of the dogs is inside of the sentence, inside of the clause. However, it has a different meaning. So, for example, the first one, the dog ate the pizza. So what did the dog do? It ate. What did it eat? It ate the pizza. The pizza ate the dog. So we got some freaky pizza that apparently goes about shoving the dog in its mouth and eating. So it must be like a villain from a movie. I gave the dog a pizza. Notice how fun that sentence is. I gave the dog a pizza. So what are you giving? You're actually giving a pizza, but to what are you giving the pizza? You're giving it to the dog. So the dog in the sentence just before that is a different function than the dog here. To give it the same function, we would just take off the word a pizza. I gave the dog. Because that would be, in English, that's how confusing English is. I gave the dog. It means you're giving a dog to somebody. I gave the dog a pizza. For some reason, adding a pizza after it makes us all understand that that's to whom we're giving something. And then the final one, I drove the dog to the store. Notice how that can actually have more than one meaning. It means you stuck the dog inside of your car and you drove it to the store. Or it means you have some sort of weird dog car or you refer to your car as the dog. So anyway, notice how confusing English is. Japanese uses these particles and it'll slap it onto the dog, inu. And thanks to the particle, we will know how the word inu or the dog is going to be used. So see how in each sentence the dog has a different function, but it's still inside the sentence. So the dog is a subject, and then it's an object, then it's an indirect object, and then it's either the vehicle by which we drive or an indirect object that we are moving with us. I'm not exactly sure what we would call that. I'm pretty sure it's just an indirect object or object of the word of a give. See, in Japanese, it's way easier to understand what function is because we have particles. Particles are beautiful. Okay, that's inside of a clause. Next. Between clauses. These are generally agreed upon. They're called clause particles. However, once again, different textbooks call them different things. These come between clauses. They are going to announce how one clause interacts with the next clause or with another clause. They're basically English conjunctions. So I ate it. So on the right we have some example sentences. I ate it. That's one clause because I wanted to. So I ate it and I wanted to are two separate clauses and they are connected via because. I ate it, but I didn't want to. So we have I ate it and I didn't want to. Did you see how even though we have the exact same clauses, because we chose the word but instead of because, the meaning is changed. Since I wanted to eat it, I ate it. And here we have a clause particle. Well, it's not a particle. It's our conjunction. In English, it'd be a conjunction. In Japanese, we'd be using a kara or something like that. It'd be a particle. Notice how it comes actually at the beginning of the sentence. Because since I wanted to eat it, I ate it. And that one we flipped them. So that's intriguing. That's intriguing how we can do that in English. The comma helps us with that function. See how each clause has a connection to the other via the conjunction? Conjunction, junction, what's your function? All right. Those are between clauses, aka clause particles. Probably clause particles are the best names for them. I just wanted to keep it simple and gave them the dumb name between clauses. It's funny, I'm complaining there's so many different names for them, and then I invent another name. All right, so after sentence particles, aka they're called sentence particles in most textbooks. What these ones do, as you can probably guess, they come after a sentence. Oh my gosh. They announce a shift in the entire sentence's meaning. It's beautiful that this happens. Like in English, it's confusing because we have to rearrange all the words. In or we change the tone of our voice. However, in Japanese, we just say ka or ne. And they do change the intonation of their voice, but it's fascinating how simpler it is in English or in Japanese. And generally they change between questions and statements or, different flavors in between those two, questions and statements. So for example, in English, notice how we have the sentence, she wants to eat pizza, right? Pretty basic sentence. Notice how in order to make it a question, we have to suddenly invent the word does. And then the S comes from the word want. So does she want? Notice the wants. In the original sentence it says she wants, but in this sentence it says does she want? The S goes away because it's part of the does. Does she want to eat pizza? Notice that we have to rearrange the word. We put the subject in between we call it an auxiliary verb or a helper verb, and then we shove the actual verb after the word she, and then we finish off with to eat pizza. And then notice how we can, if we emphasize and we add the word does, we say she does want to eat pizza. We're correcting Somebody had the assumption that she does not want to eat pizza, and we're correcting that assumption. She does want to eat pizza. No. What you're saying is wrong. She does want to eat pizza. And then here we're throwing in like the word right. She wants to eat pizza, right? See how we just shift with that little eh? And that suddenly changes how the entire sentence is interpreted. She wants to eat pizza. 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 All of these sentences are the same, but I mean, they look different because in English we have to change the way we have modals and we do weird things with the words, but they're all the same sense. She wants to eat pizza. Does she want to eat pizza? She does want to eat pizza. She wants to eat pizza, right? You can see how they're all basically the same, just kind of had to change in the shift the meaning. She wants to eat pizza. Does she want to eat pizza? She wants to eat pizza. She wants to eat pizza, right? Oh, look at how sexy that is. Yeah. All right, let's go on to the next one. A few examples. So this is actually showing you a list of particles. This is not a complete list. I just sat down and I was like, these are all examples. That freaky guy right here, if you actually look at what he says, you'll see he's got just a slew of particles. Do yo, that's a particle. Ii hanashi da be is a particle. Netteru dake is a particle. De is a particle. Roku desu yo is another. The same yo is up here. Yume mite na isn't really a particle. It looks like a particle, but I've been corrected on that one. Hanashi da be is a particle. Ya ore mo is a particle. Yoppo do. I think he's just slurring yopporateru. Shinyo shiteru yatsu ja is a slurring of two particles. Ne to kono hana. To is a particle. To konashi shitaku ne. That's not, that ne is not a particle. That's the slurring of ne. Dakedo is a particle, and yo is the same particle. It's a slur of particles. We got ga, wa, ni, de, o, mo, ka, ya, to, ya, no, e, dake, yori, hodo. You might have noticed how the ha here is pronounced as wa. It's a particle, pronounced special. And this he right here is pronounced e. That's because it's a particle. Between clauses, we get kedo, kara, node, ga, to. This is actually an interesting function of node right here. That's actually two particles that function in, and actually it's a particle and maybe even the copula. I'm calling it a particle if it's not officially a particle, and some linguistics guy wants to challenge me on that. Go right ahead. I'll accept your argument. After a sentence, ka, wa, yo, ne, ga, be, dake, yori, and things like that. There's more. There's more. I should have practiced reading what that guy said. I was trying to just run it along. A few notes. It should be stated that particles are not necessary in every sentence. In fact, Japanese loves leaving out information. Most of the time, we get the exact same meaning without using the particles. Oh, maybe not the exact same meaning, but very close to the exact same meaning. As long as we just intone our words differently, we can come up with pretty much the same meaning. Adding particles to a sentence, even though we don't need them, generally adds a bit of politeness and formality. Not always, but usually, so does properly enunciating your speech. If I say the sentence like this, properly enunciating your speech creates the feeling of formality and politeness, versus properly enunciating your speech creates the idea of formality and politeness. You can feel the difference. Oh, feel the difference. All right. Your first particle. This might not be your actual first particle, but this is the first one that I'm teaching in this series. It's the sentence final particle ka. I don't know if that spit just went flying everywhere, but I felt something on my lips. With any sentence, although mostly with distal sentences, adding the particle ka with a rising intonation, ka, turns the sentence into a question. So you take the entire sentence and we just questionify it with that ka at the end. With many negative sentences, this will often be an invitation, not always, but often, or like a is that right feeling. Turn any sentence into a question by adding the sound of ka after a sentence with rising intonation. Cool. There you go. With certain sentences, usually the tentative, deshoka, adding ka without rising intonation doesn't make the sentence a question. It makes it a sentence uncertain. We'll talk about this in a future video. But I guess I shouldn't say every sentence, but pretty much it's every sentence. I mean, let's not, file down and look for the single needle in a haystack. We'll talk about all this stuff in a different video. This will just be our first ka video. All right, we got new vocab. Ame, rain. It's a no noun. That's a Yuki, snow. That's my wife's name. Kino, yesterday. Kyo, today. Ashita, tomorrow. These are all nouns. Atsui, hot. Samui, cold. Tsumitai, cold to the touch. Samui is much more like the weather or the air is cold. Suzushi is cool. Those are all e adjectives. I have the v there because they're verbals. They're in the same category as verbs. Furimas, to precipitate, i.e. snow and rain. Furimas. Dekimas is to be able to do something or to complete a task. And ikimas is to go. You can easily pause this, write them down, and practice them a little bit. It sounds like my daughter's awake. I am going. All right, let's get to some examples. Examples number 1. We're starting with nouns and e adjectives. The top one, ashita, ame desu. So, tomorrow, is it rain? Tomorrow, the weather will be... Oh, sorry, it's not even a question. Sorry, ashita, it is rain. Tomorrow, the weather will be rain. This could even be considered the word rainy. So, tomorrow, it will be rainy. Something like that. Ashita, ame desu ka? Ashita, ame desu ka? Ka? So with the rising intonation and the ka particle, it becomes a question. Will it be rainy tomorrow? And there's a random period right there, which shouldn't be there. Atsui desu. Atsui desu. Atsui desu ne. Atsui desu. It is hot. It will be hot. Throw a ka on there. Atsui desu ka? Atsui desu ka? Is it hot wherever you are? Will it be hot tomorrow? Atsui desu ka? Atsui desu ka? All right, so that's throwing the ka particle with rising intonation, completely changing the meaning of the sentence slightly. Examples 2. We got verbs and we got past tense. Actually, these are all past tense, aren't they? These are all just past tense. So, kino yuki furimashita. Kino yuki furimashita. So, it snowed yesterday. Kino, yesterday. Yuki, snow. Furimashita, it did precipitate in such a manner as yuki. Kino yuki furimashita ka? Kino yuki furimashita ka? Did it snow yesterday? So, yeah. I put it snowed and did it snow in quotation marks because furimashita isn't actually the verb snow, but with yuki, the best translation is to snow. Okay, next. Suzushikatta desu. It was cool outside. It was cool, dog. It was cool outside. So, suzushikatta desu. Suzushikatta desu ka? Suzushikatta desu ka? Suzushikatta desu ka? Was it cool outside, brah? I noticed the ka, rising intonation, brings it into a question. My good sir, was it cool outside at the time? Elementary, my dear Watson. Number 3. We got a noun followed by des. Noun followed by desu ka. Takarabako desu. Maybe my intonation's not 100% on that one. Takarabako desu. It's a treasure chest. Treasure chest. Takarabako desu ka? Takarabako desu ka? Takarabako desu ka? Is it a treasure chest? Is it? Is it like a treasure chest? Notice, once again, English, we have to flip our verb and our subject to make it a question. Everything else stays the same. Japanese, the exact same sentence. We just go ka at the end. Well, there's slight changes in intonation on the way. Takarabako desu. Takarabako desu ka? Takarabako desu. Takarabako desu ka? Takarabako, 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 takarabako. It's a fun word to say. Say it 9 million times. Kore desu. Kore desu. The thing that we're talking about is this. Kore desu ka? Kore desu ka? Or kore desu ka? Is the thing that we're talking about this? Is this the thing that we're talking about? So notice when we just have kore and des, we don't know if this is a subject or an object. And so I give you it's the object, or I guess I should say the complement statement. So the thing that we're talking about, that would be the subject, is this complement. This is, so that would be the subject, the thing that we're talking about, complement. So I give you both of those, okay? And I don't know why I translated this like a, I'm sorry, this isn't even a question. Oh, so I'm not sure why there's a question mark there. So yeah, that's just me being sloppy with my examples. Oh well, screw me. Let's keep going. Notice what happens even with English. when we make negative sentences questions. So on the left, you will go to school. Will you go to school? So it's a question. Now let's make it negative. Will you not go to school? Will you not go to school? Then just slur will and not together. Won't you go to school? Maybe something along the lines of, aren't you going to go to school? Won't you go to school? Are you not going to go to school? Something like that. She will eat pizza. Will she eat pizza? Will she not eat pizza? Won't she eat pizza? Isn't she going to eat pizza? So, see how all of those mean about the same thing? But when we make it a negative question, it's almost like, aren't you going to eat pizza? Won't you eat pizza? It can become an invitation. It can become an invitation. It's not necessarily an invitation, but it can become one. You will have some tea. That almost sounds scary. Will you have some tea? Will you not have some tea? Won't you have some tea? Oh, won't you have some tea? Aren't you going to have some tea? Something like that. It becomes a strong invitation. Or, really? Kind of a feeling. And if you just add with me at the end, won't you go to school with me? Won't you eat pizza with me? Won't you have some tea with me? It is clearly an invitation. Invitations can happen with negative questions in Japanese. Examples 4. Ikimasen. I won't go, or I don't go. Ikimasen ka? Will you not go? So it's almost an invitation. Won't you go? Or it could be, oh, you're not. It could be just the literal, you're not going? And I'm asking for clarification. You're not going? We could do some other stuff at the end of that sentence to make it much more distinctly the you're not going. I'm looking for an explanation question, but we're not going to teach that yet. So just bear. It could mean this. Pizza tabemasen. I don't eat pizza, or I won't eat pizza. Pizza tabemasen ka? Pizza tabemasen ka? Won't you have some pizza? Will you not eat pizza? Won't you eat some pizza? You're not going to have some pizza? Oh, you're not going to have some pizza? This was almost much more certainly an invitation. Pizza tabemasen ka? Pizza tabemasen ka? Look at this delicious pizza. Pizza tabemasen ka? And I keep pronouncing it like an English person. Pizza tabemasen ka? All right, cool. Examples number 5. Samuku nai desu. It is not cold. Samuku nai desu ka? Isn't it cold? Like maybe you're looking at... Me and my wife, we were in Japan for a couple of years, and we went to like Disney World. And it was the winter, because why not? Girls would be wearing their super high skirts and be like, oh, it's so cold, trying to cuddle up with the man, the high school boy. It was always funny to watch that. We're like, put on some pants, lady. Samuku nai desu ka? Isn't it cold? Notice how that can't really become an invitation. Oh, isn't it cold with me? That sounds creepy. So it's not always an invitation, obviously, but it could be an invitation if it weren't for a sentence that can't really become an invitation. Hayaku nakatta desu. Hayaku nakatta desu. It wasn't early, or it could even be it wasn't fast, or quick. But whichever. I gave the early example. Hayaku nakatta desu ka? Wasn't it early? It wasn't early. So hayaku nakatta desu ka? What wasn't the airplane early? Why are you coming so late? Or hayaku nakatta desu ka? Didn't you say that it was early? It wasn't early? Are you saying that it was not early? So the more literal negative question, it wasn't early? Or the asking for clarification, wasn't it early? You see, they're about the same thing. Once again, yeah, we're dealing with they mean the same thing. So just once again, it's not an invitation. You can't early do something with somebody else. Hey, let's early together. That sounds like something weird. All right, we got bakemono sentences, and we made them negative with nouns. Bakemono is a noun, so we made it negative with janai desu, which is the distal form, and then we made it a question. Bakemono janai desu. Oh, sorry, I misread that. Bakemono janai desu. It's not a monster, and I'm being distally formal with you. Bakemono janai desu. That's not a monster. That's my mama. Bakemono janai desu ka? Isn't that a monster? Your mama's a monster? Yo, mama so bakemono. Bakemono janai desu ka? That isn't a monster? I could have sworn a walking zombie was a monster. Or, bakemono janai desu ka? Isn't that a monster? I could have sworn that That might have been a monster. Oh, it was your mama, and I shot an arrow at it. Her. Same thing, but with the word are. Originitis. Originitis. No, notice how when I accidentally read it like a question because I'm half asleep, notice how the intonation does change. Originitis. Originitis. That's not what we're talking about. The thing that we're talking about, arde, is the subject, which I'm just telling you it's a subject. There's no way to know that just from this sentence. Originitis. That's not what we're talking about. Originitis, ka? Originitis, ka? Originitis, ka? Isn't that what we're talking about? That isn't what we're talking about? Something like that. All right, hey, everyone. That has been an exciting, if I do say so myself, yeah. Evan's Easy Japanese lesson for the sentence particle, the sentence ending particle ka, which makes questions. You can donate via Bitcoin, or please donate. Please, at the very least, hit the up thumb button. Share it with your friends. Like literally clicking that button with the thumbs up, beep, costs you literally nothing. And if you want to just encourage me to keep making these videos, because these take time, and it would be appreciated. You can just, and you just want to use PayPal, paypal.me/EvansEasyJapanese, all one word, no apostrophe. So whenever it's my logo name, it's Evan apostrophe S Easy Japanese. Whenever it's in a URL, there's no apostrophes allowed. So paypal.me/EvansEasyJapanese, all one word. All one word is not part of the URL. Check out on Reddit. I'm starting to make an Evan's Easy Japanese subreddit in case you're sick of people yelling at you for being a noob idiot at the Learn Japanese one. And hey, I'm actually in the middle of making a kanji workbook that's actually being proofed by some people right now. I might sell it because nobody's donating anything to me. I might put it up for free to encourage people to donate to me. But Lord knows that took many hours, and I'm still not done. I'm rambling. Have yourselves a good day, guys. Peace out.